All right, everybody, welcome back to the Big Blue Dynasty series. We are in week 8. And what I wanted to do for this first episode here is to kind of talk through what we're going to think about doing from a trade perspective. We have currently lost a couple times now. And when you look at how we have played, beginning of the year, we started out pretty strong. We lost to the Raiders in what appeared to be a very heavy turnover game for us, but then we came back multiple times, taking on the Patriots, Cowboys, and Eagles, only to fall 3 times in a row to division rivals, Commanders, Cowboys, and Eagles in week 5, 6, and 7 by a big margin in the last 2 weeks. When I see things like that, I have to consider what changes can we make? What can we do to change this team up? And is there any way to change course and find a better direction where we're heading right now? I would like to look at the team real quick to see where we stand in certain positions. Certain players right now are currently hurt, like Joshua Azudi. Positive is we do have Joe Tippmann right now, who is a superstar dev, so I can see 3 parts of this team right now that are in a good position. You're talking the left tackle, right tackle, and the center. It's my guards right now that are a big issue. I'm also recognizing that there has to be some changes in the wide receiver group. Hodgins and Hyde are doing okay, but I have to think about knowing where we stand with certain players. Is it time to move on from a player like DJ Chark, knowing that we have some other youth players that we could take advantage of? DJ Chark has played some role right now, but nothing too crazy. And when I think about the other receiver right now and Raheem Jarrett that we do have, maybe there's an opportunity for him to step up. When I look at the defense, I see some good possibilities right now. Kayvon Thibodeau, Azeez Ojulari are playing pretty solid. But I think about some of the veterans that we have in Melvin Ingram and James and Justin Houston. And I also have to think, is it time to move on from these players to maybe find something better? I look at players like Logan Ryan as well as another potential trade piece to figure out what we're doing. And we currently have Jonathan Jones as our player, a corner on the block. One other piece I am considering trading right now is Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams is a very, very good defensive end. He hasn't done much to start this year. Nothing about how he's played right now has made me feel very comfortable as we are almost halfway through the year. He's on his last year of his contract, and it's about $25 million hit for us for the year. So if we do trade him, someone has to have the cap to. So before we decide to play any games, I want to make sure that we think about the trade pieces we do have and what's out there, because I'd like to get a little aggressive with some of the pieces that we do have, and maybe there's an opportunity we can get some pieces in this block that might be able to help us out. Some positions right now are kind of auxiliary for us, not necessarily needed, but it's great to have. We do have Myles Gaskin and Gary Brightwell, but I think about some of these other running backs here that are on the block that maybe we could take advantage of and move forward. I'm looking at players like Tyrion Davis-Price, who for me, he's behind Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey, so it's not like he doesn't need to be there, but there's an opportunity for us to give him up. They do need a center, a quarterback, left end, left tackle, left guard. So when I think of left guard, I think of Quinton Spain. Maybe there's an opportunity to bring him in for Tyrion Davis-Price and maybe give up maybe a later round pick. I have to think about, making sure too that we are a scheme fit, right? And elusive back is definitely a need. But Tyrion Davis-Price to me has that good mixture. He's a power back and he's an elusive back. He's got 90 speed, 93 acceleration, 81 trucking, 85 change of direction. His break tackle isn't the greatest, but I think with 2 years, under his belt right now in the NFL, there's an opportunity for us to take him. He was a 3rd round pick, so it's not like we're gonna keep it rolling there. I'm hoping and kind of get right in that spot. So that's another piece we have to look at. Wide receiver isn't necessarily a need, but if we decide to let go of a player like DJ Chark to another team, we have to consider what would happen if we were to go after something else. So I am looking at youth. It's not to say that I've given up on this season, but I think it's time for us to take advantage of some of these other positions for us and see how we can kind of keep it going. So when I look at the wide receiver spot, there isn't anything too crazy that's currently on the block that makes me feel like, okay, we could leverage this piece and maybe we could, find a diamond in the rough. There really isn't anything like that there. As far as other pieces right now, I am considering some players that are currently on the block right now that do have the cap space to bring someone in. I'd love to bring in Darren Waller, who is a real piece in the NFL that we could bring in. But I figure this might not be a bad idea to look at some other guys like maybe a Noah Gray on this team. He's got 84 speed, 88 acceleration. He's potentially, or was supposed to potentially be, the heir apparent to Travis Kelce. But I'm not sure if he ends up being the case. Now the positive, this can be a nice little storyline here. We bring in Noah Gray. He actually played at Duke, so I believe Noah Gray and Daniel Jones actually played together. Let me look this up. Did Jones He did. First 2 seasons, great caught passes, future quarterback Daniel Jones. So Noah Gray could be a very interesting piece. They do need a left end, but anytime I look at trying to bring in players or take players from the block, I have to think about the teams that have actually been winning, because it doesn't make sense to trade with teams that are not winning, because they are also sellers as well if they're going to give some pieces up. So let's look at who is currently at least above 500, right? So the teams that are currently above 500 are the Texans, Packers, Chiefs, Raiders, Vikings, Broncos, Jaguars, Bengals, Titans, Eagles, Cowboys, Falcons, Ravens, Steelers, Rams. So when I look at these pieces right here, I'm really thinking about who I'd like to trade with, and it would be some of these other pieces. So the Chiefs could be a very good candidate for us. I don't know how much cap space they have. The Raiders could be interesting. The Broncos. So, when I look at things like that, I have to think about, if we decide to trade a player, would they have the space for somebody like him? So currently right now, the first person that I'm thinking about trading is Leonard Williams. So if Leonard Williams has some room on the Broncos, they need a left end and potentially a right end. What would that mean for them from a tight end perspective? They have Jonnu Smith, they have Greg Dulcich and Albert Okwuegbunam. So if we were to bring over Greg Dulcich, that could potentially work. The other team I'm thinking about are the Chiefs. Now, they don't have another tight end. Outside of Noah Gray, that's pretty much it. And they would have negative $18 million. So they would not make sense from that standpoint. The Packers, they only got 2 tight ends as well, and they don't have the cap space. The Raiders don't have the cap space. We would have to trade somebody to let him go in order to make it work. But right end is 100% a need for them. So I have to consider here what would happen if we went. We could send them Jonathan Jones, right? We could send them Jonathan Jones, and we maybe not let go of Leonard Williams, but maybe we give them Deshaun Hand, who currently right now, I think he only has a 1-year contract with us. So, and it's not going to cost me that much. So we could bring him in there give him Deshaun Hand, and in return, what would it cost us to get Darren Waller? Could that work? He's going to want a whole lot more. So Darren Waller is not in the cards, man. Much as I would like that, that freaking sucks. So let's look at the tight ends that are out there. The Noah Gray, Daniel Jones one would be a really fun connection. It's just if we do Noah Gray, we'd have to give up a player. So if we did Noah Gray, right, and we sent them, a right tackle, they don't have the space. We sent them, excuse me, they wouldn't have the space. They'd love Noah Gray, they just don't have the pieces to do it. Do the Ravens? So the Ravens were another team that I was looking, because they were willing to give up Isaiah Likely, and they are above 500 teams, so I was cool with that. The Ravens get a Leonard Williams. Maybe that can change it up. He gets to go to a winning team. It'd be Justin Matabuiki and Leonard Williams and David Ajabo. So that wouldn't be a bad deal. They'd get their veteranship there, and they do need a corner. They got Clark Phillips and Eli Ricks, so I don't think that's really right for us to bring in that piece there. They say they need a right tackle. They got Fa'alele, so I don't really see that as a component that really makes sense there. A right guard. They got Zeitler, so again, that doesn't really make sense there. So, say they need a DT. Oh, I don't think they do. I think the Leonard Williams one would be very interesting. But do they have a tight end that works out? Charles Kohler, they got Isaiah Likely. He's 24 years old, 6'5", 241. He hasn't been on the field as much. He's a 4th round pick. He's only been in the NFL, I'm assuming. Yeah, it's his 2nd year, Coastal Carolina. If we did we sent Leonard Williams over there, he would have the cap space. I just don't know if they would give up Isaiah Likely for Leonard Williams. I think let me do this. Let's see what players the Ravens have on the block. Let's be realistic with that, right? What are they willing to give up? They do have Likely on the block, which is really strange for me. Maybe they're gonna go tight end in the Kiki, Harrison, Jalen Armour Davis. Okay. So, outside linebacker, they only got $1 million cap. Let's go back to the teams again. I gotta write this down. I gotta write down the standings real quick. So it's Texans. Texans have the space, and they got the wins. They're kicking butt right now. Packers doing right. Chiefs, KC's killing it. Raiders killing it. Vikings. So we'll look to see if the Vikings have any pieces. The Broncos. Ag. Bengals. Titan. Falcons. Baltimore. Pitt. Those are the teams right there. Anything below 500 doesn't really make sense. I mean, technically they could make a move, but I think it's only fair that we look at teams that are actually winning. So let's look at, I don't know, what are the Titans doing? Are they giving up any pieces? Stick, Ton Haskins, Kyle Phillips, Ogbo. Fourth round pick, early fourth round pick. They don't necessarily need it. Let's look at the Vikings. What do they need? A guard, a DT. Why do they need a DT? I'd have to. Let's look at the Texans. The Texans, I don't know if the Texans have any pieces that I'm excited about. If we did the Texans, we would have to go picks for the Texans. Nico Collins, Amari Rodgers. Yeah, that's the part right there that's kind of tough. And then let's look at Green Bay. Do the Packers need a corner? They need. Packers need a right tackle, a center, a wide receiver, a left end, and a right guard. Vikings, a right guard. Nope, that's not anything I have. Look at Jacksonville. Oh, let's go Cincy. Cincy needs a tight end, middle linebacker, left guard. Nothing that crazy that we have. We got Broncos. They say they need a right end and a left end. Do they have any pieces that we could go? They have Dulcich on the block, but I don't know why they would do that. Dulcich was like a key piece, considered like the best tight end in that draft. One of the best. So if we sent him to Denver, more than likely we would have to give up pieces. We would have to just trade for picks. Falcons. Chiefs say they need a right end, but they don't have any cap space. And then let's see. Falcons, they need a right end. They got all the space in the world. So if we were to send them here, you know, we could get a player like Algier on this team. That doesn't make sense. A good honor kind of guy. Yeah, so they're pretty. So Falcons are a solid team. So if we sent them there, that would make sense. So Atlanta looks like a key piece that we would do it. I would prefer to send them maybe to Jacksonville. And the reason why I say that is because it would put them in the AFC. I don't know about sending Leonard Williams to a really good team in the same conference. So the Falcons are a good potential though. Pittsburgh is another one. So when we're looking at the Steelers, this potentially becomes a team that doesn't necessarily need everybody, any of the guys that I have, like Leonard Williams or Jonathan Jones. So next part right now I have to think about is the team that's got the best record in the league. It is the Texans. So they have the cap space. It would be great to send Leonard Williams to a team where he deserves to play and he deserves to win. So my hope is that we can kind of get that going there. So let me work through this here. There a team? What I want to figure out though is there a team that actually needs a core? Because there was one team that was willing to give up a guy that I was very shocked. They have Boogie Basham. They got AJ Epinesa on this block, but there was thoughts that they wanted to give Ed Oliver up, and maybe because he's going to be on the block. So I'm not quite sure how we're going to kind of do that. So what I'd like to figure out now, how will we make this work, right? Who are we going to drop off? Who are we going to let go of? And when I think about this team here, I think what's necessary is knowing that we're not going to be able to get any players that I would like, because from a realism standpoint, there really isn't anybody that is giving up a tight end where it makes sense. Greg Dulcich, there's only 3 tight ends, and the guy that's above him is a little older. It's if we look at the tight end real quick, they have Jonnu Smith and Albert Okwuegbunam. It doesn't make sense for them to give up somebody like Greg Dulcich, who's a very good tight end. Isaiah Likely, this is another issue. They only have 3 tight ends on the roster. So as much as I would love to bring in one of these guys onto this team, I think what we're going to end up doing is giving up players to get pieces. We have to think about right now how to, one, reduce give us an opportunity to give some of these players a chance to win, but also empty up the cap and just kind of reload for the future. So I think when I think about a player right now, the first player I'm thinking about sending away is somebody like Leonard Williams, sending him to a place where he could potentially win and letting him go. Now, realistically, they got 2 first-round picks. I think realistically, knowing where they stand as far as the right end is concerned, I think this definitely lets me know that we could probably get a decent pick for him. And I think the pick that I'm willing to give in return from it is a late 3rd round pick. It's fair. It allows us to move on. It opens up cap space for us, so we can kind of maybe leverage that 3rd round pick for maybe a player. So we wish him the best of luck. Leonard Williams is no longer with the Giants. The other player I wanted to look at getting rid of and giving him an opportunity to move on is Jonathan Jones. Jonathan Jones is an 82 overall corner. A little older, he's 29, 30 years old. But when I think about players or teams that need a QB, a CB, I'm thinking about people that are shallow in that space. So I want to look first. The Texans did not want him. I want to see what Green Bay is looking like right now. Where does the Packers go from here? Right? Do the Packers make sense? They got Razoo Douglas. They got Eric Stokes. So that doesn't make any sense. You look at the Raiders. Raiders got William Jackson. They got David Long, Kentrell Clark, and Nate Hobbs. That doesn't make any sense. You look at the Ravens. The Ravens have Clark, Eli Ricks, and Humphrey. That doesn't make any sense. You want to look at the Steelers. They got Witherspoon, Keely Ringo. Nope, that doesn't make any sense. Want to think about maybe the Titans. They got Christian Fulton. They got Nick Needham, Caleb Farley, Roger McCreary. Nope. Vikings got Dantzler, Murphy Bunting, Andrew Booth, Trayvon Mullen. They're still young. The Bengals, they got Mike Hilton, Anthony Brown, Joby Awuzie. That doesn't make any sense there either. Broncos got Darby. They got Anthony Everett. They got some guys here. Broncos could be the piece that we can give. But if we gave them Jonathan Jones, I don't know. So the Broncos are potential. Let's see here. The Chiefs have McDuffie, Jason Verrett, Jalen Watson. Not really. Falcons. They got Kyle Fuller, AJ Terrell, Trayvon Young, Deontay Banks. No, they don't need them. Jaguars. Tyson Campbell, Byron Murphy, Darius Williams, Q Blue Kelly. Nope. Yeah, so if we are going to trade him, this would upgrade the Raiders, but I don't know. If we sent him here, I don't know if we can get anything for him. Let's look to see what do the Raiders have on the block. They're white. Doesn't make sense. They don't have anybody that makes me feel good about this. So the Raiders are out of it. I think if I am going to send him, it probably is to the Broncos. We get him out of the NFC, back into the AFC, and they get to kind of continue to grow that spot. I think that makes sense there. They definitely don't have the greatest spot. So here's what I want to do. For Jonathan Jones, I think it's fair to maybe go after like a 4th round pick for Jonathan. I don't really need him though. Not a need. I think what we're gonna do here is we're also gonna go for a 4th round pick, and we are going to send Jonathan Jones. It's a fair deal. Only have him for a 1-year contract. It hurts us a little from a cap perspective, but nothing too crazy there. So we have 36 million cap space. We have 2 spots available. Now that we've gotten those 2 pieces done, I kind of want to look at some auxiliary pieces to let go. There were some players right now that I was thinking about letting go, and that would be somebody like Logan Ryan, but I think it honestly might be one of these guys here. Player that I think I'm willing to see if anyone wants him is Melvin Ingram. So you're talking, they got a tight end they want to give us, a Quentin Morris and Tim Settle. Bengals are trying to give us Jackson Carman, Trey Hill. You got the Browns trying to take a piece. The Falcons trying to give us John Ross and Jalen Hawkins. You got James Mitchell, Evan Brown. You got the Raiders looking at Richard LeConte. I don't see anybody here that's that. Lions aren't on my list. Falcons are. Browns aren't. Bills aren't. The Bengals are. They're trying to give us a lot of pieces. Tyson Anderson, Jackson Carman, Trey Hill. So let's now look at the Bengals. See what they got here. They were trying to give me Tyson. They're trying to give me Jackson Carman, which I don't know why they would do that. Jackson Carman's only been in the NFL for 3 years. Coming out of Clemson, doesn't have the craziest of stats. He was also a 2nd round pick. They got Jonah Williams, so I don't know why they would do that. If I were to grab Jackson Carman, though, there's an opportunity for us to take him. I think David Edwards, not on the block. I think it's Filler. So if I was to get a piece and send Melvin Ingram there, because he would help out from the left outside linebacker. Davis Gaither, they got Dorian Williams. Yes, they need an upgrade in that space, but he's not even that much of an upgrade. 74, but he'd be a mentor there, so I think that would help them out. So he's 75, like Akeem Davis Gaither. I think that's a piece right there that kind of makes sense. Go ahead and take like a 6th round pick, send him away, continue to get some pieces for him. So that happens right there. Get Melvin Ingram gone. The other piece that I am considering sending away right now is somebody like Logan Ryan. I think it only makes sense to see who would be willing to take him. The Broncos are trying to give us Andrew Wiley, a right tackle, a veteran. I don't know why that would work. The Buccaneers, the Chiefs are trying to give us Joshua Williams. The Falcons are trying to give us Jalen Hawkins. I think we're gonna look at the Jaguars, trying to give us a left guard, which I'm all about trying to get depth in that space. That'd be kind of good for us. They got Broderick Jones there, so Ben Barch, who has been in the NFL for just 4 years, he's on the last year of his contract. But what I like here, though, is Ben Barch. He's got star depth, so we can potentially grow him if necessary. So we get some youth right there in Ben Barch. That helps us out. Send him to the AFC. Jaguars are one of the teams that have a good winning record. I think that's fair to go. So we'll send them out. Wow, they want more. So what are we willing to give them? left end. Here, DT. And nope. I think we're gonna have to send him like a late pick, which I believe we do have. Yeah, I think we can send him a 7th or something like that. That works. And it does. So we send a future 7th round pick, Logan Ryan, for Ben Barch. We get to upgrade the left guard position, which gives us an opportunity to grow in that space. But this now leaves us some spots, right? So what are the spots on this position? What are we going to need to do? So Ben Barch is going to be here. We'll see what happens to Azudu, but the fact that we get an upgrade in that space, that really makes me feel good in for that. But now I have to think about, what does this mean for the rest of our guys? Who's actually going to make this work, right? And I think one other piece I'm willing to trade right now, give him an opportunity to go win somewhere else, would be somebody like Chark. Now, Leonard Williams is no longer there, which is very tough, but I think we got some other pieces here that can kind of work out. So I'm hoping get it done there. I'm gonna move Beavers, outside linebacker spot. Give him some opportunity to edge right behind Azeez Ojulari. Maybe we'll see something there. Right outside. Titans got Marvin Jones. Birds go around. The Titans would make some sense, but they're trying to give me Garon Christian, who doesn't make any sense there. So if I were to send DJ Chark here, I think what's fair is like a 4th round pick for DJ Chark. They actually do have him as a priority, so I'm willing to see if maybe we can get like a 4th rounder for him. I think that's fair. He's still young, so I think that's good. It's gonna cause us a cap hit, but it works out for us there. So knowing that we have that leaves me some room to bring in another player off the practice squad. And the guy I'd like to take a chance on is Simi Fehoko from Stanford. I was a big fan of this guy coming out of the draft 3 years ago. He's got good speed. His catching's not the greatest, but he's a guy that could be a very, very big difference maker for us. So we're going to go ahead and bring Simi onto this team, get him on the starting lineup, or get him into the lineup, and then we'll kind of roll from there. So I think we got a pretty good spot here. Do this real quick. Kind of talk through. All right, so here is what we have as far as the lineup is concerned. Ben Barch, we decided to put him onto the starting lineup for now. We'll see what happens between him and Azudu, but worst case scenario, Azudu ends up working and competing for the right guard position. But Ben Barch, he's on his last year of his contract, and I really hope he can kind of work out. Tipman's going to still continue to play the center. You got Glowinski at right guard, Evan Yale at right tackle. Tight ends are still in a good spot. Wide receivers, you're going to see some things happening now. Rakeem Jarrett has moved up on the depth chart. Still Hodgins and Hyatt, but we'll see some Rakeem Jarrett there if necessary. On the defensive side, you're definitely going to see some changes. Pinnock is back into the starting lineup with Xavier McKinney at free safety. The defensive side, you're going to see more Darian Beavers now. The corners, Garrett Williams, the rookie, has been thrusted into the starting lineup now. I think he can do some really good things for us. He played very good at slot, but I think he can play that outside when we need to. The defensive line, you're going to see Zach Harrison out there now. You're going to see him start. So it's his chance to shine, and hopefully he continues to ball out the way that we need to. Justin Coleman will be our starting slot corner for now. We'll kind of figure that out. If we move him around, it'll probably be Aaron Robinson there, or maybe Cordell Flott playing in that spot. But Cordell Flott currently is playing corner number 3, so we're definitely going to see more of him. We have 3 spots on the practice squad available, so now what I'd like to do is see if we can bring in some other guys here that can fill that practice squad position up, because it's time to get it going there. So Anthony Schwartz is available. You got Amari Rogers. You got Samori Torre. Jeremy Ruckert is out there. You got Des Fitzpatrick, Roundtree. So when I think of some of these guys here, I think what I'd like to do is first, let's go to halfbacks, wide receivers. I'd like to look at the tight end spot. So Jeremy Ruckert, we'll go ahead and put him on the practice squad. There is no one in the tackle spot. Here, maybe the right guard. I could consider bringing back Wyatt Davis. Put him on the practice squad for now. And then let's look at the defensive side. 6'3", 210 guy, free safety. He might be able to work out for us. We'll put him on the practice squad as well. Now we have the practice squad set up here. We have all that figured out. Let's go ahead and look at the other pieces here. So as far as the scouting, I think we currently have the safety and the wide receiver spot as potential focuses, and I'm cool with that. I definitely want to make sure that we continue to look at all wide receivers and we make that a focus, because Raheem Jarrett is here, Jalen Hyde is here, Isaiah Hodges is there, but they're not the end-all be-all for me. We have to consider upgrading those weapons for Daniel Jones or the future quarterback. I'd also like to look at the mock draft right now and see where they have us. Seattle is currently 0-7 right now, so they're a top 5 pick this year, and they're looking at a linebacker. You got Casey Frazier to the Saints. You got Channing Gallery. So this is one of the 2 first-round picks for the Texans. So it's not their pick. They're kicking butt right now. You got a wide receiver going to the Chargers. You got Amari Shipp, and they got us going left tackle, which will most likely be a guard that we would end up moving around. You got the Ravens looking at a running back. Pretty interesting position. Shane Kovac going to the Titans. And then you got Nelson Bennett going to the Packers. So some interesting things for the mock, but nothing too crazy there. So before we head into this week, we will go ahead and end this episode. This was all about just trying to get the pieces, figure out who were we willing to trade, who were we willing to let go. So I'm pretty happy with our decisions. When it comes down to it, we made the right moves here. So the trades were as follows. The moves we made. So the roster moves were as follows. Ifeatu Melifonwu, Wyatt Davis, and Jeremy Ruckert are moved into our practice squad. We went ahead and brought in Simi Fehoko and activated him to be a depth piece as far as wide receivers. We traded DJ Chark to the Titans for a 4th-round pick. We activated Brandon Stevens and Jason Pinnock to the to the 53. Darian Beavers is moved to the left outside linebacker position. We also went ahead and traded Logan Ryan to the Jaguars for a future 7th-round pick and Ben Barch. So we were able to get a player who's currently looking for a new contract. Hopefully we'll consider bringing him in as a potential piece. Not too expensive. We sent Melvin Ingram to the Bengals for a 6th-round pick. We sent Jonathan Jones to the Raiders for a 4th-round pick. Leonard Williams was traded to the Texans for a 3rd-round pick. So all in all, I think we made the right choices, and we gave these players an opportunity to win somewhere else. Leonard Williams is now on the number 1 team in the NFL. The Raiders are a top 5 team in the NFL right now. You've got the Bengals that are in the within the top quarter of the league, and the Jaguars are also in that same spot. So, and the Titans as well. So I think we did all the right things. We sent them to winning teams. And I think that's fair. We are sellers, they got some buyers, and I'm hoping to kind of make it work. So if you like this episode, please drop a like, leave a comment, and if you'd like to keep up with the series, subscribe. I appreciate everyone that stopped by today. Y'all have yourself a good one.